my friends? Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're all having a great day. We are still in Florida. I wanted to do a quick video for you today. I'm going to be working with 3 different foundations, but one very special sponge. I have been seeing these types of sponges all over YouTube, and I thought, what the heck? Let me give that a try. And this one here, I happened to be strolling down the aisle in my Walmart. I actually bought this sponge a couple weeks ago, and I said, oh look, they have one of those sponges. So I grabbed it, and it is the Equate Beauty brand, and it's a flocked blender sponge, perfect for powder, cream, and liquid makeups. So I don't have any powder foundations and I don't have any cream, but I do have 3 different types of foundations. So I'm going to go ahead and try. One is a very thick, this is the Flawless Finish Makeup by Lawless, and then the other is Light Wonder by Charlotte Tilbury, and then the Ilia Serum foundation. So I thought I would go ahead and try this. Now this sponge does not grow in size like the Beauty Blender. It feels like I've heard people say microfiber, and it's not like a microfiber. It's almost between microfiber and velvet. That's what I'm going to say. It has the look of perhaps a velvet. Maybe some would say microfiber, I don't know, but it is damp right now. It is a little bit harder than a Beauty Blender, and like I said, it does not really grow in size like some of my other sponges. It comes with a rounded side and a slanted angled side. It does have a really nice point to it for getting up underneath the eyes. It doesn't feel damp on the skin right now the way a Beauty Blender would feel, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to try it, and I'm going to start out with the Ilia first, and this, I have to say, I have fallen in love with this foundation, and this is the True Skin Serum foundation, and the color that I have is, I believe, Selena. Let me see. Yes, Selena. It took me a while to find the right foundation, and I will be honest, it still has a bit, just a tinge of orange, okay, but not so bad. You'll see when I put it on. The one thing I can suggest with this is do not over apply. The first time I used this in a video, I used way too much. You don't need to use a lot, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to, and it does come in a pump. We are going to try this sponge out now. So this is really all about the sponge, but it will give you the opportunity to see how some of these foundations work, okay? Because the Lawless, I had ordered a long time ago. I ordered a couple of colors and I never brought them into a video because the colors were just all wrong. So let's go ahead and just apply a little bit of this foundation on the areas I would apply any foundation, okay? And then normal, like normal, and this was, I used a pump, okay? Like normal, I would take whatever's left on my hand and put it into the sponge, okay? So I'm going to get my handy dandy mirror here, and I'm just going to go ahead, and I am a pouncer. I like to pounce my foundations on with a sponge. I think I just get a nicer application. So I can tell you right now that this sponge is actually not spreading the foundation the way my Beauty Blenders would. It is much harder, and I think it is actually absorbing a lot of the foundation because it's not spreading the way it did. So with this sponge, I would need to use more. Let me see if I try a swiping motion, if it actually does better. I'm going to need more of my foundation, okay? Just a bit more. So I'm going to just put some on the back of the hand here, another pump. And I'm going to go ahead and tap it in the areas again and see if we can get a better application with this sponge, all right? Again, taking the excess, and that's what it looks like on the sponge, and I'm going to go ahead and this time I'll drag down to see if that helps. And dragging motion does seem to help it better. So you might want to, if you're really looking to use one of these, dragging may be better than pouncing. Okay. This foundation, I know this is about the sponge, but this foundation is really, really nice for aging skin, my friends. And it's one of those clean beauties. so it doesn't have any harsh chemicals in it. And then of course, because I can't help myself, I'm going to go ahead and pat it. I'm going to back up just to get out of the glow from the window. The windows are tinted, but it's still, I mean, Florida sun is strong. Okay, so I would say it does okay with, you have to use more foundation for the serum. Now, if I were supplying the serum with my hands or my beauty blender or my Sonia Kashuk sponge, which is my most favorite, I don't have to use as much of this foundation. This time I did have to use the 2 pumps, and it did take off whatever was on my hand. Now, I'd like to cut this sponge open when I'm done to see how much absorbed into this. But I can see that there is some still laying, just like the beauty blender, on the sponge, okay? But overall, it does give a very smooth application. And it's a very, if you're someone who prefers a very thinned out foundation look, you may really love these Flock sponge. But anyway, I'm going to remove this one now, and we're going to go in with the next one, okay? Right. So now I'm going to go in with the next one, which will be the Charlotte Tilbury. And this is number 5. I think number 6 would be the perfect shade for me. But this is a, this is a Light Wonder, and this is a Youth Boosting Perfect Skin Foundation. So we're going to go ahead and give this a go. And this one here I've used before, and I did not have to use an abundance of it. A little lizard on the window ledge right now, outside, not inside. Okay, so I'm just going to put about this much on my hand, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the Ilia. And now again, this color may not be right, but it's more about the way the sponge is applying. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply a little bit of that. I can already tell you I'm going to need more of this one. But anyway, we're going to take up, sweep up, that's 1 pump, okay? And we take the excess off, and now I'm going to go ahead with my handy dandy 5-time mirror, and I'm going to go ahead and pounce first, just to see. It is spreading it, but I can already tell you I need to use more foundation, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and finish this layer up. And then we'll go in with the same brush type action, sweep action. It's not bad though. I mean, where it's covering, it's really a nice application. The sponge is doing a nice job, but it is absorbing a lot of the product. Now, I know there's another brand of this out there that I think was the original, and this is kind of a knockoff type. So this one may not be the best choice. And I can see where I'm pressing, it's lifting up, but you can see there is a rim that it is really absorbing the foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and take what I would consider another pump of this foundation. And to be honest with you, this color is not that far off. So if you're my color, this is what it looks like. And it's not too bad. I'm still thinking that 6 would be perfect. So I'm going to sweep some of this on. Okay, so now I'm going in with the Flock sponge, and I'm going to drag it. And it does apply nicer when you drag versus the pounce. Okay, it does shear it out. I'm wondering what it would do with powder foundation. I don't think I have any powder foundation. I'm too old for those these days, and I'm wondering what it would have been like using a cream, which is a little bit thicker. But I'd say that this is equivalent almost to a cream. The Serum one definitely is not. But you can see it does give a very nice natural look to it. Or it could just be the foundation. I've got an age spot right here. Can you see it? Don't like it. Okay, so it does give a nice finish. I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can get the part that has absorbed into the sponge, if I really pat that on the skin, if it'll come out. No, it pretty much stays collected in there. It isn't so much, it's a really weird feeling sponge, but it is collecting some extra foundation there. So let me just take a look-see. It does give a nice finish, as you can see. And if I back up, it takes a lot of the sun off my face. But it is a nice finish, but it does seem to be using more foundation. So now we're going to go into what I consider a very thick foundation. And a much heavier look in foundation. Okay, so I'll be back and we're going to go with this one. I'm just going to wipe this off. Okay, so I'm back. I have taken all of that foundation off my face, and now this is the Lawless, and I'm not even sure this color is very good, but this is called Sonoran, the color, and this foundation is really thick, I think. So I'm going to give it a good shake first. It comes in a pump, and I'm not sure about this color. It looks like it's going to be a little too light for me, but it's really about the sponge, isn't it? All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put what's equivalent to a pump on the hand. I didn't want to sit. This fragrance, I know this is a natural line, but it has a strong scent to it, this foundation. Okay, so it is much thicker than the other two. We're just going to place it on the skin. And I would say start out with one pump on this one. This is my first time really trying this. And now I'm going to take it and wipe the sponge, what's left on my hand. And we're going to go ahead and start working that in. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, this works better with thicker foundations because that really spread that nicely on my chin. Okay, so this is a nice sponge for that. Yes. You see how it picks it up and it's spreading it around much better. It wasn't doing that with the thinner. So this one here does work better with your thicker foundations. And that one pump, it is a beautiful application. It's beautiful, the application of it. Now this foundation will be too thick for my preference. And it smells kind of, I can't place the smell. Sometimes I'm smelling oranges and other times I'm smelling something floral. But this is one of those clean lines that's not supposed to have anything in it. I'll have to look at the ingredients. I'm going to go right over. It is working much better with a thicker foundation, much better. It's a very pretty application. So if you are someone that is wearing this foundation or a cream foundation or even a powder, you may want to try this. And you can really push it in there and get in all the little nooks and crannies. And that little bit really goes a long way with this sponge. It does not absorb the thicker ones. The thinner ones, I would pass on this sponge, but the thicker ones, most definitely, it is a good sponge to use. And that is the application for it. It's very, very smooth looking. And you can see there is a little bit collected on the sponge, but that was one pump. And it really, let's go right over my eyelids to see if it releases any of the foundation that's in the sponge. Yeah, it does. Okay. We'll go right up underneath. And that is the look. Yeah, it really does a great job with thicker foundations. And the sponge was not that expensive. This is actually, you know, I'm not into this matte type of look, but this is not super bone dry. It is, it has a little bit of a satin finish to it. It is more foundation than I wear on a normal basis. But you can shear that out. But it does give a nice coverage. But yeah, that is a really nice application for a thicker foundation. I would pass on using it with the lighter weight serum style foundations, and also even this one here, even though this is a little bit creamier than the Ilia, I would say that you definitely, I wonder how this would work with the Estee Lauder double wear and foundations like that. But this here has a much creamier consistency to it. I mean, when you take it out of the, you can see that it's a thicker foundation on the actual brush. Let me put that closer and see if it'll focus. I'll get out of the way. But you can see that it's clinging to it where others would drip off of it. So because it is thicker, I do think that this sponge did a really nice job with applying it. Okay, so that is the flocked sponge, my friends, and 3 different styles of foundation with it. So if you're someone who's wearing the thicker, I would say yes. If you're wearing thinner foundations, I would just stick to the Sonia Kashuk, your hands, or the Beauty Blender. I think they apply it nicer. And I'll keep working with this a little bit with some other foundations and perhaps update you. But I will say that this really gives a nice application for the thicker ones. And I do, for me, maybe some of you are going, what is she talking about? That's not a thick foundation. For me, this is a thicker consistency foundation. And it does say to shake this one well. So make sure you do shake these well. And I don't know. Go in. I'm going to try to look for the other one. Actually, the company had contacted me and asked me if I wanted to use their sponge in a video, and then they never sent it to me. I said, sure, and they never sent it. I just love when that happens. But I ended up going and buying one myself. I think, like I said, I think this is more of a knockoff style versus the one that is kind of out and about right now. But yeah, for thicker foundations, and if you're using it for powder foundations, like a Lancome dual finish foundation, if you're using a sponge like this for your powder foundations, or even thicker than what I'm showing here, please share in the comments what you think of the new flocked sponge, my friends. All right, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe. We are living life here. Go out in the world and be happy, healthy, beautiful, and most of all, my friends, lovable. I love you all. Bisous.